Welcome to Unpacking the Athlete podcast, hosted by yours truly, Rob Martin. Welcome to Unpacking the Athlete, a podcast dedicated to diving deep into what makes athletes who they are. This is episode 5. Today's guest has sendage skills that are unmatched and has become a single speed sensation on the mountain bike. His accomplishments are as follows. In 2018, he completed his first century ride. That same year, he won the Barry-Roubaix 22-mile race, and it was only his second ever gravel race. In 2019, he won the 25-mile Hart Hills gravel race. In 2021, he finished Margie on his first try. And if you don't know, people just don't finish that race. He won the single speed category in the Lumberjack 100 this year. And yes, he raced 100 miles in the woods on single track on a single speed and won the single speed category. Our guest today is Nate Vanbelois, who resides in Michigan and loves to send sickage on the bike and work a bike with one gear. Welcome, Nate. This is going to be sick.
Hey, Rob.
Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me. How are you today?
Doing good. You ready for this?
I am.
Where have you had your biggest send on the bike? The sickest thing that you've ever done on the bike. It could be a jump, a feature.
It's probably got to be the stuff at Boyne Highlands. They have a lot of stuff up there, and recently they've added a new pro line, which I haven't quite completed yet, but I plan to this summer.
Nice. I haven't been up there. They have a chairlift, or you got to ride your bike?
Yeah, they have a chairlift. They actually just upgraded it, and it takes like 5 minutes to get to the top. So you literally have zero time to recover, and you're already ripping back down the hill. It's pretty awesome.
Maybe we're going to have to plan a trip up there.
We should. All the bros.
All the bros. Sounds good to me. Tell us about Lumberjack on the single speed and kind of start from the beginning, how you decided to go with a single speed, what kind of prep you did to get ready for this monster of a race, and how the race went.
It was kind of just like some dumb idea my buddy Steve and I came up with. We both signed up for Margie again this year. This is his first year, but we figured it'd be a good opportunity to obviously challenge ourselves and just do a nice hard race before Margie and just to see if we can do 100 miles on a single speed, really. Yeah, this spring I did put in a good amount of work, did some intervals during the week or whatever, and then we were trying to do a few big rides in the weekend. We did go down and race Mohican 100, which was quite a doozy. And then trying to get a bunch of miles on and stay healthy, which didn't exactly work. As you remember, we went for a little ride on a Tuesday. I think it was like a week and a half before the race. Straight over the bars and re-injured my shoulder. 2 days later, I thought it'd be a good idea to pull a wheelie on my gravel bike. Ended up going backwards on my tailbone on the pavement, which wasn't very fun, but just kind of kept a positive attitude and went out and gave it the best I had, pretty much. Tried to stay moving all day and ended up doing pretty decent.
Yeah, you did pretty well. And I do remember those things. I remember the crash when we were riding, and then I remember you telling me about the super wheelie on the gravel bike.
I'm blaming my brakes not working from after a couple big dumb rides this spring and neglecting my gravel bike.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Why don't you run us a little bit more into the race and through the race? Maybe talk about each lap and maybe some significant things that happened during each lap of the Lumberjack.
My goal going in was just try to pace myself. Obviously, it's a 8-hour race-ish, and it doesn't matter how fast you do the first lap. It matters how fast you do all 3 laps. So I was just trying to have a mentality like that, not go out strong. And, of course, I went out strong. I was trying to stay with the lead group as long as I could down the pavement on a single speed, and that wasn't very easy, but I was just trying to be smart and tuck in and be as efficient as possible. The first lap went pretty good. I was with a good group of people like Mitch DeYoung and a couple other dudes. We were all kind of just flowing. It was towards the end of the first lap, I think. they were all kind of going slow on a climb, and it's kind of hard to go slow on a climb in single speed. So I kind of just ripped the climb, and then first lap went by really fast. Went into the aid station, had a quick service, just swapped some bottles and added a couple gels. The second lap, I was starting to get nervous because I was already cramping up a little bit and didn't get a ton of rest the week before. So just wanted to kind of be conservative and save it all for the third lap. And then I think, being a little bit too conservative because all of the people that I dropped on that climb ended up catching me in like a train on the flat gravel part in the middle of the lap. So I kind of just hopped on the back of them and, again, tried to be efficient and just keep moving. And I was able to pick most of those people off by the end of the second lap. And then the third lap, I was just pretty much in survival mode. I think I had too much caffeine. Third lap, I took a beta fuel from SIS. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but they have like 200 milligrams of caffeine, and I was already whooped. So I took that, and it like just wrecked my guts. Oh. And I was like dry heaving while riding, trying to like make myself throw up because I just felt so shitty. And then I got to the aid station, and Marnie's like, "What do you need?" And I was like, "Something to settle my guts." And like dry heaving. And she just like gave me some crackers and peanut butter and told me how Perry Ann was doing, which was nice. And then, I just kind of tried to be efficient for a bit, and then I was about 10 miles to go and just let her rip. Ended up taking the single speed win and 11th overall.
Which is epic on a single speed.
Way better than I would have anticipated.
Right? Did the crackers and peanut butter, did it settle your gut?
Yeah, it did. I kind of just like took one bite of the cracker and just like let it sit in my mouth for a bit because my cheeks were like tingling.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to eat solid food when I'm out of breath. So I usually just take in a bunch of gels, but those weren't really jiving very well. So I nibbled on a Rice Krispie for a while.
Right.
And then just tried drinking as much like regular water as I could.
Okay.
Ended up coming back around after like 30 minutes.
Okay, nice.
Felt pretty good.
That's
I actually felt
crazy.
way better at the end of Lumberjack than I did at the end of Mohican for some reason.
And did you race single speed at Mohican as well?
No, I used gears at Mohican.
And what are you going to do at Margie?
I plan on using gears at the moment, but I might switch. Just rock my single speed. Maybe just one easier gear and see how it goes, but we have some time.
When did you get started on the bike, or how did it happen?
So I always kind of like rode BMX bikes with my dad and like siblings when I was a kid. We just kind of mob around town, and I like never took it too seriously. Did enjoy like building some sketchy jumps and trying my best to wheelie some parking spaces and whatever, but never had, YouTube or anything. And I don't know, I never really put that much effort into it. Just kind of used it as a outlet. So I did that till I was like, I don't know, teenager, and bikes weren't cool anymore. And then when I was like 25, I decided to getting a dirt bike would be a good idea. And that was fun while it lasted. Mainly just like road trails and whatever, but I ended up injuring myself a lot. The final straw was a compound fracture in my leg. I broke my tibia and fibula. I had to get pretty extensive surgery, and obviously that was quite a setback. Realized I needed to get a new hobby, so I went to like a department store and bought a $300 mountain bike. And then I found all the local trails, and then got hooked. Realized that I should probably sell my dirt bikes, maybe upgrade my mountain bike a little bit because I was breaking it left and right. And then just took off from there.
So you started on the $300 store bike.
Yeah, it was a Diamondback from Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh, at least it was a Diamondback, though.
Yeah, right? It was decent.
Okay, yep. So it was decent. What recent event did you do that was challenging and fun at the same time?
I'd say both Mohican and Lumberjack both fall into that. They're pretty close together. Endurance races are just like a roller coaster of emotions, and it's fun to like dig deep and suffer for a little bit. I guess type 2 fun, you'd call it. But yeah, I always feel like I question myself doing these races, and then once you finish, it's super rewarding, and it's pretty sweet that your body can do hard shit.
Heck yeah.
Mohican was just like super hot and humid, and my body, I don't know, just wasn't used to it. And the climbs were super punchy, super long. We don't have anything like that around here. So it was little bit of an eye-opener. The start was super fast, and there was quite a bit of big rolling hills at the start. Same thing, I was just trying to like be efficient but stay with the lead group. Ended up doing pretty decent there too. I went in the hurt locker for a bit as usual, and then calmed down, got hydrated, and got some food. Saw some locals like Steve Kuntz out on the trail, or got to ride with him for a while, which that was kind of nice, and had some good support, which was appreciated.
Challenging because it had punchy climbs.
Yeah, it was just like hot
and
huge
hot
climbs. I wasn't quite prepared for it, I would say. And it's just a long, hard race for sure.
Were you aware?
Be done.
Yeah. Were you aware of the routes? How rooty it was there?
I heard it was like chunky, but you don't really know until you get there. The only like super technical spots were the first like third. There was a lot of really fun single track, but it was pretty technical and slow going.
Yeah.
And then once you got to like the 40-mile aid station, I think a guy said that the hard part was over, so that was kind of nice. It's like, whatever, I don't believe you, but I'll keep going.
Nice.
And then the second half is just a bunch of really slow, long horse trails almost. Like super soft dirt. It was pretty much mud. Probably a lot of horse poop. But it's a fun race, and I'm going to do it again. Probably not next year, but I want to go back and redeem myself.
What other sports or activities have you done in the past that you believe have translated into a better you on the bike? I know you mentioned BMX, but was there anything else?
I don't really know as far as skills on the bike. I think dirt biking definitely helped with like the speed aspect and ripping through the woods and bike handling, but that's pretty much it. I wasn't like a pro in dirt biking or anything, but I think it definitely helped.
Yeah, I was talking to someone else and they were telling me about kind of the same thing. The speed on the dirt bike between trees allows you and gets you better at reacting to what's coming at you. You know? So you kind of have that going for you.
For sure.
What was the best investment you made in yourself, or maybe a parent, family member, or friend made in you that was the most helpful to you along the way to get you to where you are today?
I think just time is the biggest investment I've made. I put a lot into my riding recently and taking care of my body. So I think that really helps. But my dad has always been a super hard worker, and I've always respected that and looked up to his work ethic. If anyone knows him, they know he's like the hardest worker. He actually just turned 60 years old, and he's still doing concrete work.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You're the second person who else? I just had another guy I was talking to, another mountain bike guy. His brother and dad do the concrete work as well. And I know I've done it like a couple times because my dad did construction and we were always in that field.
Uh-huh.
And I know that that's probably the toughest job in construction.
It definitely is. Bricklaying is definitely hard too, but growing up doing that definitely probably helped out with the endurance thing.
Heck yeah. Moving concrete around all day.
Yep.
Well, kudos to your dad. He's still pushing that stuff around.
I don't know how.
Did anyone influence you to get on the bike? Do you have anyone that you look up to right now, like as a hero or idol?
I didn't really know anything about mountain biking or know anyone that was mountain biking until I got my first bike, started doing some research. I've always been interested, just couldn't justify the cost, especially without a motor.
Right.
And I'd say Nino will always be an idol, as he's a legend. The guy's still crushing it. He's been in the sport for forever. I really like following Keegan Swenson. I appreciate his hustle and how hard he works.
Yeah.
Then locally, I'd say you, Nick DeHaan, the likes of Matt Acker have always been on my radar. When I first learned about Strava, I remember checking out all the leaderboards and seeing you guys up there, and I'm like, there's no way these guys are doing these trails twice as fast as I'm doing them. But you do.
Not anymore. When and what was your first ever race, and take us through that experience?
I think my first race was Fort Custer Stampede. It was in 2018. I raced the beginner class, was ripping the trails with my friends, and I thought I was super fast. You know how it goes. So yeah, I went out there. I was like super anxious and went out way too hot. Ended up just surviving to the finish, but it was so fun.
First time I ever did Fort Custer, it was, geez, I don't remember. I think 2015 or 16, and the temperature was about 90 degrees. And that's like a longer race, too. So I wasn't feeling so
Right.
swell after that race.
Like 3 laps or something for expert.
Yeah. Pukey.
That's probably felt like I felt at Mohican.
Right. How many hours a week do you spend on the bike during base building?
To be honest with you, I don't do much training in the winter. I try to get on my indoor trainer a couple days a week, but I really hate the cold or my body doesn't agree with it. So I do mostly just go snowboarding on the weekends and ride my indoor trainer a couple days a week. So like 4 to 7 hours depending on the week in the winter.
Awesome. Snowboarding. I love that as well. What's your favorite place in Michigan to snowboard?
I think lower Michigan is probably Crystal. I don't know why. I just love the layout there, and you can just rip around the outside and feels like there's long runs. Bittersweet has a pretty sweet little park, so I like going there. But
Nice. How many hours a week do you spend on the bike during the season?
once the snow melts and it starts warming up, I start ramping up. It's not like anything specific, but lately it's been like 10 to 14 hours a week, depending. Yeah, I'd say the spring is like 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
I don't take training too seriously. I just try to get hours on the bike, really.
What has been your most memorable race or event on the bike, and why don't you walk us through that?
Probably Margie of last year. I signed up in 2019, and obviously racing was canceled in 2020.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it was probably a blessing because I was not ready to tackle that beast yet. So I just went up and went to Boyne every weekend in 2020. Last year I definitely put some more miles in, but didn't take training too seriously. Didn't really know what I was getting into, and it was quite a doozy. I was able to finish, which was my first goal, but fell short of my second goal of getting that buckle.
Gotcha.
Stupid buckle.
A stupid buckle.
So I'm going back this year to accomplish that, hopefully.
Okay.
It's just such a hard, amazing experience. You get to ride all of the trails in Marquette and Ishpeming pretty much with 500 or 700 people, which is pretty sweet. You definitely go through all the motions, but it feels amazing to get it done.
Do they have aid stations out in the woods, kind of like at Polar Roll? I don't know if you probably haven't been to Polar Roll, but Polar Roll, they kind of have bacon station with some drinks and stuff.
So there are little trail angels, as you call them, but it is a self-supported race. A lot of people do have some support, and I had Perry Ann up there going to the different spots to fill up on water and snacks and all that stuff. Steve Kunst raced last year too, so Aaron was up there running support for him. We were pretty close in time, so that worked out pretty good.
What time does that race start in the morning? Is that an early one like Lumberjack? 7 a.m.?
It's right when the sun comes out. It's dark when you're walking to the start line.
Okay. They get you going right away, because that one's harder than Lumberjack for sure, right?
Yes. There's I think 4,000 more feet of climbing, and there's no smooth trails. There's one little flat section between Ishpeming and Marquette where you can kind of recover a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of that. So I think it took me about 12 hours and 20 minutes. So Lumberjack last year, obviously I was very unprepared for that too, but took me about 8 hours and 15 minutes. So it's I'd say 50% harder, or 150% of Lumberjack.
Gotcha.
As far as time goes.
What ride, could be solo or with a group in the past, was the most memorable? And it could also be an adventure ride.
A Boyne trip with my friends and family was one of the best trips I've ever had biking. We had a huge group up there. I think it was almost opening weekend, but everyone was having so much fun. The stoke was high, and we were all just riding bikes and having a blast all weekend. Copper Harbor Trails Fest with a couple of my best friends was one of my favorites too. I enjoy the racing, but there's nothing like a good weekend in the woods with your favorite people without the stress of racing or whatever. So that's what I like most, is just going and ripping bikes with my friends and camping.
That is great, isn't it?
Yep.
I've learned more of that in the last, well, when the COVID thing hit, I kind of learned we did a ton of rides together, and we
Hmm.
just did these 70-mile or 50-mile rides.
I remember seeing those. You guys were doing a lot of big rides for sure.
Yeah, and it's just fun. Like you said, there's no worry about race or performance. You just go with your buddies in the woods
Yeah,
and have a good time.
that's the best in my opinion.
Yeah. Can you talk a little more about the Copper Harbor Trail Fest? I've never been up there.
Yeah, so it's like a 3-day event, I believe. There's like everything. There's a cross country race. There's a running race. There is an enduro race, a downhill race, and I think that's it. But it's just a super fun trails fest all weekend. There's like a little party in the park every night with live music and what are those things called? Paskies, is that how you say it?
Oh. I
So you get like
think it's I
paskies.
think it's I think it's pasty.
All right.
I don't know.
So yeah, there's like these pasties. What?
I just call
Is
them
it pasty?
pasties. But I think they are pasty.
But yeah, that's what we had for dinner every night is pasties or pasties. Probably drank a little bit too much, but it's awesome. There's like no cell service. You're just up there ripping bikes with your friends, and if you're not doing that, you're like heckling in the woods or jumping off some black rocks into Lake Superior. So
Nice.
it's amazing. You should definitely do it. It's every Labor Day.
Okay.
That's one race that I would like to do every year if I could, or event.
Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
All right. Who has been your biggest competition along the way? And tell us of some of the times you went head to head.
I'd have to say my good buddy Steve Ferrugia. I actually met him at the Hart Hills gravel race. Like I said before, I thought I was fast, had no clue. Didn't have a gravel bike, so I put some gravel tires on my Scott Scale mountain bike. We did the short 25-mile version. We were together for like 4.2 miles until he dropped me, I think. He ended up going on to win I believe he won the 25-mile race. I think I got like 4th or 5th. But yeah, we started riding shortly after that. I guess you can call us frenemies. We're great friends, but we're always keeping each other honest on the trail. He usually beats me at races.
I'm not sure I've ever raced Steve.
He's a beast. I think he's way better than me at the gravel stuff too.
Oh, the gravel?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gravel's a different beast, It's that constant power the whole time where we're used to more the sprint.
Yeah.
We can go higher in the power, but then we need a little break down a hill.
Exactly. I need the recovery.
Right. So there's definitely something different with mountain biking and gravel racing. Why do you love the sport and what keeps you going?
Yeah, my favorite part about biking is just like riding with friends in the mountain bike community. Love to be outside. Love the process of training, setting goals, and doing your best to accomplish them. I'll never be a pro, but it's like fun to see progress and do better each year or whatever.
I agree. Every day getting better. Do you incorporate any strength training into your training?
I wouldn't call it actual strength training, but I do try to do like core exercises and stretching and rolling.
You want to give us some examples of core exercises?
Just like planks and lunges and different stretches.
So you don't use any equipment at all?
I have, but it's never been regular or consistent.
Okay. When you do it, do you know how many days you're doing that a week?
I try to do it on Monday and Wednesday, and then sometimes, obviously, like roll a few days a week or whenever you ride. But I try to do it at least 2 days a week.
What does a typical week look like for you on a non-race week during the season?
I usually ride like 4 or 5 days a week. I take Monday and Wednesday and sometimes Friday off. Taco Tuesday at the Cannonsburg Ski Hill, as you know. Half the mountain bike community's there. It's usually like a good interval session, as we call it. We do the Super Loop, which you combine the ski hill and Cannonsburg State Game Area. And then we all meet back up for tacos and beer afterwards. Then usually Wednesday, if I don't take a rest day, I just do an easy ride and some core exercises. Thursday is kind of dependent like how I feel or what's going on, if I need to get some stuff done for the weekend. And then the weekends are just long endurance rides or going to Boyne or whatever the group is doing.
Do you do any yoga, massage, percussive therapy, anything like that?
I do have a Theragun little mini, and I like to use the foam roller, but that's pretty much it. I use a Theragun probably every day and try to roll after I ride, at least.
Satan. Yeah, Satan's pin. Do you have any supplements that you use pre-race or post-race, during a race for recovery?
The only supplements I really use are Tailwind, like in the bottle. I wouldn't really call it a supplement, but it's my nutrition. So I
Yeah.
use Tailwind in my bottles. I like the berry flavor. It's really tasty. It's been the easiest on my gut out of all the things I've used. It's not too horrible after like 8 or 10 hours, so that helps. For gels, I like lately is the untapped maple syrup, the coffee flavor. Has a little caffeine in there and goes down pretty easy, but sometimes I use like SIS or Boom gels. And then like Rice Krispies or peanut butter and jellies are my go-to food, or a banana. And then for like recovery, I just do Floyd's of Leadville CBD protein. Just like mix it with some berries and some almond milk or banana or yogurt.
You like vanilla?
Yeah, it just mixes better with like berries, I think.
Yeah.
If I use like peanut butter or something, I'd probably do chocolate. But
I use the Tailwind berry as well. It's my favorite by far out of any company I've tried.
yep,
It's
just
smooth.
like mixes so clean.
Yes.
Doesn't leave your bottles like all nasty or make them smell.
No. Yeah, they
I
don't
feel
get
like it's the most
sticky.
natural stuff you can get. No junk,
No junk.
just sugar.
Take us through a racing week. Do you do anything different on a racing week? Do you have more days off? Do you do openers?
Nothing too crazy. Obviously, like I lower the volume quite a bit. Depends on what the weeks leading up to it look like, but try to just like rest, keep some intensity, try to keep the body moving. Rest, hydration, and carb loading are obviously very important.
What is your favorite interval workout to do on the bike? Do you like the short ones, which is I'm going to guess that you do, compared to the longer ones?
Yeah, I like short, hard intervals, to be honest, with some rest or recovery. May have something to do with the whole mountain biking thing, but like we talked about earlier, I'm horrible at putting down consistent power for a long time, like road riding, but I'm working on that.
I'm working on that. Yeah, I tried working on that this year too, doing some gravel races, and I did get better, but man,
It's just a time thing.
yeah, I like the mountain biking. I just like what it is.
Roadies are a different breed.
They are, aren't they?
They definitely are.
If there was one race you could do over, what would that be, and what would you have done differently?
I think Orta Shore last year, I felt really strong during the race and still felt strong afterwards. I feel like if I played my cards right at the beginning, I could have done a lot better. But I was just trying to conserve and not blow up. But if I would have gone a little harder at the beginning, I feel like I could have stayed with the lead group and not been alone on all the flats and road sections. I still did way better than expected, so I can't be too mad about it.
Was that the long race?
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial if you can hang with them, and then on the flat road sections, just draft, save energy that way.
Yep, I was alone for all the pavement climbs and all that stuff. Ended up getting caught by a few people, but
that's okay. Then you can work experience with them.
Yeah. Orta Shore is a really fun race, though. It feels like a real mountain bike race, especially ripping down the power lines, and it's so fun.
I've done it once. It just seems to me the weather's so iffy up there, and I don't know. I just have a hard time signing up for it so early to not know what the weather's going to be like.
Same. We had really good weather last year, which was nice.
Yeah, I tried signing up. I tried contacting the race director, and they just ignored me.
Hey, can I come race tomorrow?
I think it was about 5 days ahead, though. I was like, hey, I know it's this weekend, but if I could, I'd pay a little more if I can get in. And they just ignored me.
Try 2 weeks ahead next time.
Right. If you could spend 1 week training with an athlete or a coach, who would it be and why?
I'm going to have to say Keegan Swenson. I just think he's a genuine, humble dude that likes to work his ass off. I definitely get dropped fast, but it'd be sweet to rip some gravel and some trails with him and hang out down in Arizona for a week or whatever.
Absolutely. Would you like to hit some single track with him, some gravel with him?
Well, we all know I'd prefer some single track, but a couple of those Mount Lemon rides he does looks kind of fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of single track down there in Arizona. I know that'd definitely be a good time for sure. And I agree with you. He's a great guy to follow.
Fastest dude in the country right now, for sure. He's an animal.
So at the whiskey, he smoked everybody.
Didn't he finish with like a broken face or something?
Oh, he did one race. He did do one race. I think he did finish with a broken face. He knocked some teeth out too, right? Maybe?
Something weird, yeah.
Was that the 24-hour race? Or no?
It was before that.
I don't remember what race that was, but I do remember that now that you're saying that. What do you do pre-competition to get yourself ready and motivated? Any visualization, any music?
I usually just try to stay calm and come up with a decent strategy. Tell myself not to start too hard and race smart, which neither of those actually happened, but I try to get in that mood.
No music?
I do listen to some music. I don't have like a set song or playlist. It's usually something like chill or upbeat, just something relaxing before the nerves get all crazy.
All right. No Pandora channel that's your favorite that you pop on, just whatever?
No, it's usually something different.
Why don't you talk about some of the events on your calendar for this year and maybe explain a little bit about what they are and where they are?
Margie is like the big goal, my A race. I need redemption. I want that stupid buckle, and I want to have a strong race. I'm interested in a couple other ones, but haven't signed up for much because I don't want to feel overwhelmed. So I think Iceman's the only thing I'm like registered for, but I may do Ore to Shore or the Wilderness 101, which is in like Pennsylvania. So that's the next one I may do.
That's the Wilderness in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, the 101.
Okay.
Really like to get out for like a bike packing trip this summer. I'm headed out to Oregon and Washington this weekend. My friend Alan and I are going to visit a friend and ride bikes and camp all week, so it's going to be awesome. I've really been looking forward to that.
I didn't get an invite.
Sorry. So July 3rd through July 10th, you're invited.
Nice.
We're going to wrap it up with a bike festival in Bellingham, so that'll be really fun.
We're going to be headed to the Marquette area.
Nice. I know a few people are going up there.
You mentioned Iceman. Where's that at?
That's in, it goes from Kalkaska to Traverse City. It's like a 30-mile race. And there's roughly 4,000 people that do it. So it's like kind of just the year-end party. Everyone kind of can turn off the training and just relax for a while afterwards. So it usually turns into a shit show.
It is an end-of-year party for sure. If you were to give advice to any younger athletes, what would it be?
I'd say keep it fun for number one. That's what's most important. Enjoy the process and the training. Consistency is key. As we all know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I'd say just have fun with it. And if you're not having fun, do something different.
I agree with that. Have fun. That's the key in my book too. Because if you don't have fun, you're not going to continue to do it.
Exactly.
Anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk in the podcast, and I look forward to seeing it grow over the years.
Thanks, man. I hope it does.
It will.
Where can people find you on the web if they want to connect with you?
I'm on Strava and Instagram at Nate Vanbelois.
Can you spell your last name for them?
It is V as in Victor, A-N, B as in boy, E-L-O-I-S.
Awesome. Man, it was great talking with you. We had a blast. We got to learn a little bit more about some races I haven't done. And maybe that, who knows, maybe I'll do one of those in the future. Appreciate you stopping in today. I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation. And we'll shred soon.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Rob. Let me know.
You got it. You have just listened to Unpacking the Athlete.